Madison Cross had it all. She was rich beyond imagination, successful in every venture she touched, and powerful enough to bend the world to her will. A socialite, a mogul, a name whispered in boardrooms and printed on magazine covers. She lived in a glass tower high above the city, and every night her penthouse glittered like a star fallen to earth. All of it, every dollar, every headline, every ounce of influence was the result of a single, dark transaction. Years ago, she had met a stranger at the crossroads, dressed sharply, too sharply, smiling too widely, with teeth too perfect. He had offered her a simple deal. "Your soul," he said smoothly, "for a lifetime of success." Madison, drunk on ambition, had agreed without hesitation. For years, life had been spectacular. But one truth remained, etched in every deal of its kind. Eventually, the devil comes to collect. The summons came wrapped in a black envelope. No return address, no words inside, just a simple location, date, and time. Madison's heart sank. She knew what it meant. Payment was due. But Madison was no fool. She'd made her fortune in cryptocurrency schemes, scams, and innovations that danced along the razor's edge of legality. She understood loopholes. She had a plan. She met him again. The devil wore a sleek suit and sunglasses, even in the dead of night. He extended a hand. "Your soul, please." Madison smiled sweetly and said, "I thought perhaps you'd accept Bitcoin instead." The devil tilted his head, intrigued. "A payment more modern," she continued, producing a sleek black device. 1 million Bitcoin. It's worth billions." He tapped the ledger with a talon-like fingernail, considered, grinned. "Done." Madison pressed send. The devil's phone buzzed. Transaction confirmed. He laughed, a sound like cracking bones and distant thunder. "Pleasure doing business," he said, and then he vanished. Madison staggered home, exhausted but alive. Free. She thought it was over, but it wasn't. In his vast domain below, the devil eagerly accessed his new treasure. But as he opened the digital vault, something happened. The Bitcoin he had received shimmered, distorted. Each coin wasn't currency at all. It was a prison. A soul, bound in chains of code and spirit. One by one, they slipped free, screaming. Hundreds, thousands, millions of souls he had captured over millennia, released back into the world, unclaimed, unbound. The devil tried to claw them back, but the chains dissolved. His vaults collapsed, his dominion weakened. He reached for his own reflection and found nothing. In a moment, the devil realized what Madison had done. She had tricked him. Each Bitcoin she paid him wasn't a coin at all. It was locked souls. Now they were gone. Freed. His empire, once built on the currency of despair, crumbled to dust. And he, the great collector of souls, is now soulless. Madison, imagining the cosmic chaos she had unleashed, slept soundly for the first time in years. Somewhere far below, the devil screamed an empty sound, hollow and broken, echoing into a kingdom he could no longer claim. For the first time since the dawn of time, he was bankrupt. And Madison Cross? She woke up the next morning, sipped her coffee, and smiled. She checked her crypto wallet. One last message blinked on the screen. Transaction complete. Somewhere, very faintly, she could hear the devil still howling. But Madison's victory came with a price she hadn't foreseen. The world began to shift in ways both subtle and profound. Without the devil to maintain his dominion, chaos seeped into the cracks of existence. Deals struck and shadows unraveled. Fortunes built on greed collapsed overnight, People who had sold their souls for fleeting success found themselves hollow, their ambitions evaporating like mist under the sun. And yet others, those who had lived lives of quiet integrity, began to flourish, as though some unseen force now rewarded virtue instead of vice. Madison watched it all unfold from her penthouse perch, equal parts fascinated and unnerved. She had intended only to save herself, not rewrite the rules of reality. But the ripple effects of her actions were undeniable. Crime rates plummeted as criminals lost their edge, while artists, teachers, and healers suddenly experienced bursts of inspiration and abundance. It was as if the universe itself was recalibrating, seeking balance after centuries of imbalance. Still, Madison couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't entirely free. Late at night, when the city lights dimmed and silence filled her glass tower, she heard whispers. Faint, fragmented voices carried on the wind, speaking words she couldn't quite understand. At first, she dismissed them as echoes of her own paranoia. But then came the dreams. In these dreams, she stood in an endless desert under a blood-red sky. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, coalescing into figures, some human, some monstrous, all reaching out to her with pleading hands. Their voices grew louder, more insistent, until they became a deafening roar. "You freed us, but you did not save us." One figure stepped forward, clearer than the rest. A woman with hollow eyes and a face etched with sorrow. "You thought you could outwit him," the woman said, her voice trembling with anger and despair. "But you merely shifted the burden. Now we are lost, neither claimed nor released." Madison woke drenched in sweat, her heart pounding. She tried to rationalize the dream as stress or guilt manifesting in her subconscious, but deep down, she knew better. The souls she had unleashed weren't just free, they were untethered, adrift in a liminal space between worlds. And somehow, they held her responsible. Days turned into weeks, and the whispers grew louder. They followed her everywhere, into board meetings, charity galas, even the sanctuary of her private jet. No matter how high she climbed or how far she ran, they were there, haunting her every step. Her perfect life began to unravel. Business partners pulled out of deals without explanation. Friends distanced themselves, citing vague discomfort. Even the media, once eager to celebrate her, turned its lens elsewhere. Desperate for answers, Madison returned to the crossroads where it had all begun. Under the pale light of a waning moon, she waited. When he finally appeared, the devil looked different, not menacing but diminished. His sleek suit hung loosely on his frame, and his once perfect smile was crooked, tinged with bitterness. "You've won," he said, his voice weary. "Congratulations, you've destroyed me. Tell me, Madison, do you feel victorious?" Before she could respond, the ground beneath her feet trembled, the air shimmered, and the desert from her dreams materialized around them. The lost souls emerged, countless and unrelenting, their gazes fixed on her. The devil smirked, his teeth glinting faintly in the crimson light. "Enjoy your eternity, Madison Cross." And then he vanished, leaving her alone with the consequences of her cleverness.